Baba Vanga said that she could see in her mind's eye. And when she would look at a person, she said that she could see their whole life in its totality, complete, from birth through their life until death, as if she were watching a movie.
Although born in different eras, the renowned prophets of the century have consistently amazed people with their eerily accurate predictions. They have issued clear warnings about profound changes and global crises in 2025. The prophecies for 2025 depict a world on the brink of significant changes, filled with both challenges and opportunities. And now, join us as we reveal these 10 prophecies that are expected to happen soon and deserve your attention. Number 1. World Major Challenges. Starting with Baba Vanga's prediction. She predicted that by 2025, a major conflict in Europe could lead to widespread devastation. The apocalypse is anticipated to begin in 2025, despite the fact that humanity will not be completely eradicated until 5079, as stated in the timeline of her predictions. Besides, Baba Vanga went on to state that a conflict in Europe would devastate the continent's population by 2025. The prophecy is worrying the people, particularly in light of the ongoing conflicts and tensions in geopolitics. Following Vanga, this is the timeline to the end of humanity. In 2025, the inciting incident that kicks off the ultimate end of humanity will be an unspecified conflict in Europe, which will devastate the continent's population. Then, when we come to 2028, humanity needs more energy. To do this, they will manage to explore Venus to find new energy sources. This may be one of the most unbelievable parts of this timeline, since Venus is essentially an inhospitable hellscape with an atmosphere so acidic that nothing could survive. And no space probe has ever managed to survive more than a couple of hours. In 2033, climate change is very dangerous, and that shouldn't be understated. However, Baba Vanga supposedly predicted that at this point, the polar ice caps would melt and sea levels would rise drastically worldwide. Ever see the old episode of The Simpsons where Russia flips a switch and the Soviet Union suddenly out of nowhere reforms? The Berlin Wall shoots back up out of the ground, and a zombie Vladimir Lenin smashes out of his crypt, groaning about crushing capitalism? Well, it may not be like this exactly, but Baba Vanga's alleged prediction claims that at this point in 2076, communism will not just be back, but will take over the entire world. In 2130, skipping ahead to the next century, humanity will, at this point, supposedly make contact with aliens. What could go wrong? Climate change in 2170 is going to get worse, and at this point, a drought is supposedly going to spread across the world. In 3005, perhaps it's due to human colonization, or perhaps it's aliens. Regardless, at this point, there will supposedly already have been some kind of civilization on Mars, and they will fight a war with Earth. In 3797, at this point, due to any number of reasons, the Earth will supposedly no longer be able to support life. Humans will allegedly leave their homeworld at this point and move on to parts unknown. This is it. The end gonna happen in 5079, the grand finale. And of course, with as vague of a prediction as this is, if this was even a real prediction at all, we know nothing about it. All we know is that the world will end. Yes, the world will supposedly already be uninhabitable by this point, so what this refers to is honestly anyone's guess. Does it go out with a bang or with a whimper? Is there a great epic battle or a rather anticlimactic incident? Keep in mind that this is all patently ridiculous. Yes, Baba Vanga was a real person, and yes, she has amassed quite a following and legend around her. However, since no one wrote down her predictions, no one knows if any prediction attributed to her these days is genuine. And even if it was, no one knows if the prediction would be true. Number 2. Environmental catastrophes. Another unsettling prediction for 2025 involves severe environmental disasters that could significantly impact lives around the globe. In Nostradamus' vast collection of prophecies, one of the most feared is the one predicting a series of natural disasters that will shake the world in 2025. According to his writings, these catastrophic events will have a devastating impact on multiple regions affecting both powerful nations and small communities. Nostradamus describes earthquakes, floods, and storms that will surpass anything humanity has ever experienced before, suggesting that the world is on the brink of an unprecedented environmental crisis. Scholars of Nostradamus have pointed out that his predictions of natural disasters often align with current weather patterns, making this prophecy even more unsettling in a world where climate change is already wreaking havoc. The idea that even more severe natural disasters are looming no longer seems far-fetched. Scientists have repeatedly warned that events like global warming, deforestation, and pollution are exacerbating the frequency and intensity of natural disasters, and Nostradamus's prophecy seems to reflect these contemporary concerns. One of the most common interpretations of this prophecy is that Nostradamus was warning about the cumulative effects of climate change. References to fire in the sky and overflowing rivers could be interpreted as allusions to wildfires and extreme storms, both phenomena that are already occurring more frequently due to climate change. Additionally, the mention of the earth shaking may refer to an increase in seismic activity, something that some experts believe could be related to the extraction of natural resources and other human activities that affect soil stability. It is important to note that while Nostradamus's prophecies are often interpreted symbolically, the connection between his visions and current natural disasters has led to renewed interest in his writings. Some believe that the natural disasters predicted for 2025 will serve as a wake-up call for humanity, a warning that we must change our behavior before it is too late. On the other hand, skeptics argue that Nostradamus's predictions are too vague and can be interpreted in many different ways. Number 3. The 1,000 human brain. By 2025, we might see computers that can process information at speeds comparable to the human brain for just $1,000. Elon Musk has expressed an extremely optimistic attitude toward Neuralink. The roadmap is achieve millions of electrodes connecting to billions of neurons for a whole brain interface that costs about $1,000 to $2,000 each, with implant surgery only taking 10 minutes. The first-generation Neuralink device has 1,000 electrodes, and 100 electrodes are reading at about 10 bits per second per electrode. The second-generation Neuralink device should have 3,000 electrodes, and 1,500 electrodes will be reading. Future Neuralinks will have 1,000,000 or more electrodes. Neuralink will be able to fix any brain-related problem that involves signals in and out. This means curing blindness, where the optic nerve is damaged by directly stimulating the visual cortex. It could cure epilepsy and paralysis caused by nerve or spinal cord damage. There are about 3,000 neurosurgeons in the USA. Neuralink needs to scale the surgery with automation to ultimately provide the service to tens of millions and then billions of people. The neurosurgeons would shift overseeing the operating machines. This is similar to eye surgeons overseeing the LASIK laser machines. In high volume might be reach millions, the Neuralink device will drop to $5,000, $1,000. In really high volume, tens or hundreds of millions per year, the Neuralink device will drop to about $1,000 each. These events are not distant in the future. They could very well become a reality in the near future, possibly as soon as 2025. Number 4. Trillion sensor economy. In 2025, we will step into a world where a staggering number of devices, over 100 billion, will be interconnected, creating what's known as a trillion sensor economy. Think about your smartphone, smart fridge, and even smart light bulbs. Now imagine them all talking to each other and sharing information in real time. Each of these devices will have multiple sensors that collect data about everything from your daily habits to the weather outside. For example, if you have smart heating in your home, it can learn when you're usually home and adjust the temperature automatically, saving energy and money. By 2025, there will be more than 100 billion connected devices, each with a dozen sensors or more. AI technology and 5G connectivity will further spur this growth, and emerging from this innovation will be torrents of data. You'll need to know how to harness and utilize to competitive advantage. The coming trillion sensor economy will belong to the companies who've planned and prepared for it. One of the most significant side effects of a trillion sensor economy will be a massive increase in data collection. IoT gateways and sensors will generate data that can be collected and analyzed at the edge of the network or in the cloud. And in order to generate real-time analytics based on data collected by gateways and sensors, companies will need a low-latency infrastructure and data visualization capability in place. In Baba Vanga's predictions, thanks to advances in organ transplant technology, humans will live to be more than 100 years old. She also anticipated that the darkness would be gone and another region of Earth would be illuminated by artificial sunlight. She foresees a major breakthrough in the realm of quantum computing, bringing an unprecedented technological revolution. This advancement is set to shake up various sectors, from finance and healthcare to cybersecurity, all thanks to the mind-blowing capabilities of quantum computers. The rapid advance of technology is transforming civilization in ways no one expected, in ways that are exciting and scary, ways we are only beginning to understand. Tech seems on the verge of recreating human beings into something new, something altered, bionic, computerized, robotic, superhuman. The internet's spider web has descended and covered nearly all elements of civilization. The smartphone, smartwatch, and smart home are growing into the smart world. So, are these things linked to the Bible prophecy? Some readers may recall the words given to the prophet Daniel more than 25 centuries ago in Daniel 12:4, that at the time of the end, many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Not until recent history have we seen a time when millions of people rapidly fly all over the globe, reaching destinations in hours that in previous centuries took months or even years. Until year 1900, human knowledge approximately doubled every century. However, by 1950, human knowledge doubled every 25 years. In 2000, human knowledge would double every year. Now, our knowledge is almost doubling every day. This should certainly make us pay attention to how quickly our world is changing, and with it, how previously puzzling Bible prophecies might now be fulfilled. In Matthew 24, Jesus Christ's disciples asked him what would signal his return. What started with the movable type printing press in 1439 eventually matured into the internet and smartphones, instant fingertip access to anything at any time. Christ's words in Matthew 24:14 have never made more sense than in this era. The internet in everyone's pockets means the potential now exists, as never before, for the true gospel of God's coming kingdom to be preached, truly, to all nations. In Revelation 13:15-17, verses show the rise in the last days of a world-ruling superpower centered in Europe called the Beast. God's word shows it will exercise unprecedented control over people, like the vast Roman Empire but bigger and modern, with religion playing a major role. Revelation shows how the religious leader of this end-time superpower will honor the civil aspect of this power and will punish and kill those who refuse to worship the beast. Note how those who refuse to be part of this satanic system are cut off from buying or selling. Their economic tap is turned off. Then think of our soon-coming cashless society. Every transaction is rapidly becoming electronic. It will not be technically difficult for people to no longer be able to buy and sell if they do not fall in line with the beast power. Technology may not be the actual mark of the beast, but it will almost certainly be used to enforce the mark. The stage is set for God to reach vast numbers with the true gospel, and the context of this prophecy is just before Christ's second coming. Baba Vanga predicted that communication technologies would continue to evolve, making it easier for people to connect across vast distances. Innovations in this field could lead to faster, more reliable internet connections and new ways of interacting with each other, further shrinking the global village. Baba Vanga's technological advancements predicted for 2024 are expected to impact daily life profoundly. From healthcare to communication, these innovations could improve efficiency, convenience, and overall quality of life. As we embrace these changes, it is important to consider the benefits and potential challenges they may bring. Also with that, humans face dangerous cyber attacks. She warns of a surge in cyber attacks for 2024. These aren't your run-of-the-mill hackers. They're leveling up in sophistication, targeting critical infrastructure like power grids and water treatment facilities. These attacks could lead to widespread disruptions and chaos, posing a serious national security threat. Number 5. Economic fluctuation. Another prediction attributed to Nostradamus is the onset of a major economic crisis. His quatrain that states, "The great wealth of a nation will fall," has been interpreted as a warning of a financial collapse affecting major global economies in 2025. This prophecy suggests a possible financial meltdown beginning in Europe, particularly impacting countries like Italy and Greece, whose economies are already vulnerable. This economic collapse is also projected to affect the Americas. Some interpret Nostradamus's words as referring to a possible recession in the United States and hyperinflation in countries like Argentina, which could lead to social unrest and increased unemployment. While these situations are concerning, some believe Nostradamus's visions merely reflect the economic anxieties of any era, even if current interpretations align with contemporary fears. Like Nostradamus, Baba Vanga allegedly foresaw an economic crisis that would impact many parts of the world in 2025. According to some accounts, she predicted a financial collapse that would disrupt the global economy and plunge millions into poverty. This crisis is expected to manifest as hyperinflation in Latin American countries, particularly Argentina, and cause employment and stability issues in developed economies worldwide. Baba Vanga also warned of increasing inequality and the impact of poverty on different societies, which could spark social unrest and protests demanding change. Number 6. Extraterrestrial encounters. While the idea of an alien attack might seem like something out of science fiction, it is not without precedent. In the past, various cultures have reported encounters with extraterrestrial beings, and some have even claimed to have been abducted by aliens. However, it is important to note that there is currently no scientific evidence to support the existence of aliens or the possibility of an alien attack. While the likelihood of an alien attack is unknown, the idea of contact with extraterrestrial life raises a number of questions about our place in the universe and the possibility of other intelligent life. It could also have significant effects on our society and culture, potentially leading to new scientific discoveries and even religious or philosophical changes. While there is currently no scientific evidence to support the existence of extraterrestrial life, the search for such life is an active area of research. Scientists have discovered thousands of exoplanets, or planets, that orbit stars other than our Sun, and some of these planets are located in the habitable zone, which could potentially support life. Additionally, several organizations, such as the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, are actively searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Number 7. Dangerous bird virus. Birds have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, such as avian flu, which can be transmitted to humans. It is possible that a new virus could emerge that would have a significant impact on bird populations. The potential consequences of such an event would depend on the severity of the virus and the ability of humans to contain its spread. As what Baba Vanga predicted, a dangerous virus affecting bird populations could potentially have significant ecological and economic consequences. It could disrupt food supplies as well as impact other animal populations that rely on birds for food or pollination. Additionally, it could potentially lead to the spread of the virus to humans, which could have significant health consequences. Bird populations have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, and the potential for future outbreaks is always a concern. However, the identification and monitoring of potential bird viruses is an active area of research, and scientists are working to develop new vaccines and other preventative measures to protect both birds and humans. Continue with the virus. The nightmare called COVID-19 is still present, and many people have not forgotten the terrible consequences it brought. There is a strong possibility that another nightmare is about to come to the world. Baba Vanga predicted another pandemic, this one caused by a frozen virus that will be liberated by climate change and found in Siberia. To put this in perspective, a team of researchers found 2 ice samples from the Tibetan Plateau in China that were frozen with ancient viruses, the majority of which were never before seen. The conclusions were drawn from ice cores collected in 2015, which researchers estimate to have been frozen at least 14,400 years ago. During analysis, 33 viral genetic codes were discovered in the ice. 4 of the 33 were identified by their genetic codes as belonging to virus families that generally attack bacteria. Up to 28 were novel, which means they had never been found previously. As per Baba Vanga predictions, nations are compelled to discover alternatives. Many cities will experience water shortages, which will have an impact on politics. Also, planet-invading aliens will send an asteroid to look for life on Earth, with a hostile outcome. Number 8. Cure for cancer. It is predicted that new cures for diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer will be invented this year. It sounds unbelievable, but, nothing is impossible with the rapid development of world medicine. President Vladimir Putin recently said that Russian scientists are close to creating a vaccine for cancer that could soon be available to patients. He said, "We have reached a significant milestone in the development of cancer vaccines and next-generation immunomodulatory drugs. I hope that soon they will be effectively used as methods of individual therapy," he added, speaking at a Moscow forum on future technologies. However, he did not specify the types of cancer the proposed vaccines would target. Furthermore, recent developments have confirmed progress in the development of a lung cancer vaccine. The United Kingdom has allocated funding for 2 years of laboratory research and initial manufacturing of 3,000 doses for a DNA-based lung cancer vaccine, as stated in a press release from the University of Oxford, located in Oxford, England. But it cannot be denied that the world will have a positive outlook for cancer patients, and we can fully expect that a miracle will happen in 2025. Number 9. Darkness will cover very soon. We are in a period that can be described as extremely chaotic. War, conflict, famine, and natural disasters are nearly everywhere. The footsteps of evil are drawing closer to us, and by 2025, this situation is predicted to become even more horrifying and terrifying. Perhaps by then, darkness will officially engulf all of life. On January 26, 1950, Padre Pio predicted a major and as of yet still forthcoming chastisement for the world on account of its grave sins. Keep your windows well covered, do not look out, light a blessed candle, which will suffice for many days, pray the rosary, read spiritual books, make acts of spiritual communion, also acts of love, which are so pleasing to us. Pray with outstretched arms or prostrate on the ground in order that many souls may be saved. Do not go outside the house. Provide yourself with sufficient food. The powers of nature shall be moved, and a rain of fire shall make people tremble with fear. Have courage. I am in the midst of you. There are approximate signs in their probable order of occurrence during these darkness days that you need to really careful. The first sign. People start to flout of church laws, false worship, irreverence and immodesty in church, fall in attendance at church, church closings, churches for sale. The second sign is the lack of charity towards others. Heartlessness, indifference, divisions, contentions, godlessness, and rebellion against God. They did not, do not, and will not repent. The third one. Breakdown of family life, immorality, adultery, perversion of youth in schools, immodest fashions, people concerned only with eating, drinking, dancing, and other pleasures, but gradually forget the chaste lifestyle as taught by God. We continue with the fourth sign: civil commotions, contempt for authority, downfall of governments, confusion in high places, corruption, coup d'état, civil war, revolution. This is exactly the moment when the whole world becomes uncontrollably chaotic. Disunity will create loopholes for nefarious people to rise. At that time, the Antichrist would reveal his power and rule the entire world. Humanity will be plunged into the darkness of lack of faith. The fifth sign: floods and droughts, crop failures, unusual weather, tornadoes, earthquakes, tidal waves, famines, epidemics, and unknown diseases might appear as new strains of viruses. The Bible also mentions these signs. Once nature gets angry, it is also the time when God is showing us that his day is coming very close. Satan will triumph, but after 3 nights, the earthquake and fire will cease. On the following day, the sun will shine again. Angels will descend from heaven and will spread the spirit of peace over the earth. A feeling of immeasurable gratitude will take possession of those who survive this terrible ordeal, the impending punishment with which God has visited the earth since creation. Not only Saint Pio, but also an Italian blessed Anna Maria Taigi. She is said to have stated 3 days of darkness. She declared, "There shall come over the whole earth an intense darkness lasting 3 days and 3 nights. Nothing can be seen, and the air will be laden with pestilence, which will claim mainly, but not only, the enemies of religion. It will be impossible to use any man-made lighting during this darkness, except blessed candles. He who, out of curiosity, opens his window to look out, or leaves his home, will fall dead on the spot." During these 3 days, people should remain in their homes, pray the rosary, and beg God for mercy. All the enemies of the church, whether known or unknown, will perish over the whole earth during that universal darkness, with the exception of a few whom God will soon convert. The air shall be infected by demons who will appear under all sorts of hideous forms. Number 10. Antichrist appearance. The blind prophet Baba Vanga continued to warn the world about the important character might change the whole world, that is Antichrist. When you watch a TV show or music competition, it's amazing to see how people can rise up from poverty and then be launched into worldwide popularity in a matter of months. So it will be with the Antichrist. He will have an inconspicuous beginning and win the hearts of humanity. He will be highly intelligent. He will be stronger than most. He will be a gifted communicator. He will be politically savvy. While he will be charming, his corrupt character will be revealed after 3.5 years into the tribulation. The world will see how this man is now hell-bent on destroying the Christian faith and persecuting the Jews. He is described as a blasphemer, a hater of God's law. He will be consumed by his selfish ambitions. He will try to change biblical prophecies by twisting the scriptures. He will ultimately pretend to be God and demand to be worshipped. He will come claiming he is the one, the long-awaited one. He will be the Messiah of the new age, who will be secretly led by Satan, who will see within him his former glory, and will view him as the rightful vessel to re-achieve his ancient status and then some. He will usher in a new golden age of false peace and prosperity, and will soon thereafter be proclaimed as the God of this new age. He will craftily make war with the saints and subdue them for a time while keeping up this false personage. He might be political antichrists. Just as there are religious antichrists, there also are political antichrists. Communism is a good example. Communism is an antichrist in that it seeks to replace Christ and his kingdom as Earth's rightful ruler and mankind's only hope. Thus, we are told that it is the messianic character of communism that gives it dynamic power to command allegiance. Its leaders, such as Lenin and Stalin, have been not only idolized, but deified, termed saviors, and the ones chosen by God to lead their people. What is true of communism's being the Antichrist is also true of the United Nations. it is being given a messianic role to play by the clergy of Christendom as the world's savior, its only hope and the only light, whereas the Bible plainly shows that Jesus Christ and God's kingdom is our only hope. That's why many eyes keep watching these two popular men of the world, Donald Trump and Elon Musk's. Some might think that Trump and Elon could be the figures mentioned in the Bible who would appear as adversaries of God. However, if you hear about their love and faith in God, you may very well change your mind. We all know that Trump has a strong belief in God. Trump claims to have a strong relationship with God and the evangelical Christian community. He goes to church regularly, especially on important Christian holidays like Christmas and Easter and Sundays. He believes in doing the right things so he doesn't have to ask for forgiveness. When he's in church, he takes part in the ritual of communion with wine and a cracker as a way of seeking forgiveness and feeling cleansed. When received the question, "You have said you never felt the need to ask for God's forgiveness, and yet repentance for one's sins is a precondition to salvation," Trump replied, "I will be asking for forgiveness, but hopefully I won't have to be asking for much forgiveness." When asked who he says Jesus is, he replied, "Jesus to me is somebody I can think about for security and confidence. Somebody I can revere in terms of bravery and in terms of courage, and because I consider the Christian religion so important, somebody I can totally rely on in my own mind." He also said that America needs a savior right now, but that's not him, of course, Trump said. The life and death and resurrection of Jesus Christ forever changed the world. He said it is impossible to think of the history and life of America without the influence of his example and of his teachings. Trump added that none of America's accomplishments would have been possible without Jesus Christ and his followers and his church. Elon Musk is a physicist genius whose scent for a good idea or two has taken him a long way. But what makes people most curious about this man is his faith. In an interview, a host asked Musk if he accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior. Do you wonder about his answer? This is what Elon Musk said. "I mean, LTs just say that I agree with the principles that Jesus advocated, and there is great wisdom in the teachings of Jesus, and I agree with those teachings. And things like turn the other cheek are very important, as opposed to an eye for an eye. An eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. So, forgiveness is important. Treating people as you would wish to be treated. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Very important." After the end of his answer, Musk made it clear that he had actually been baptized in the Anglican Church as a child, and he was taught the parables and principles of Jesus Christ. That's assumedly how he knew turn the other cheek, the golden rule, and God's second greatest commandment. He also believed that he would be saved. This shows that he has a thoughtful interest in the person and teachings of Jesus. But you know what? Before giving such an answer, Elon Musk stated that he is not someone who lives by faith. He recalled asking questions about the miracles and mysteries as a child, but never being answered in an understanding manner. Musk recalled attending Sunday school at the local church where his mother was a teacher. Musk immediately started questioning stories from the Bible. Musk also said the story of Jesus feeding the crowd with bread and fish could not happen, as things can't just materialize out of nothing. The billionaire also struggled with the concept of communion. The billionaire took what he knew from religion and thought there was no creator or a deity, and instead, it was science that could explain things. This is what extends the gap between Musk and God. Nevertheless, Musk retained some valuable teachings from the Gospels, and it's certainly a strong foundation upon which to rebuild one's faith should he choose to return to Christianity.
Another world historical mood killers.
The Nostradamus of the Balkans had warned that Syria's fall would mark the start of a devastating global war. Now, legendary blind soothsayer Baba Vanga has reportedly revealed that the end times will commence in 2025. More specifically, that the start of our destruction will begin next year with a conflict in Europe that will devastate the continent's population. It will be the kick-starting of events that will ultimately culminate in our doom. In other words, 2025 might be the beginning of our end. The world is burning. Apparently, many of her predictions have come true long after her death. For instance, Baba Vanga is said to have foretold the death of Princess Diana, the sinking of the Russian submarine Kursk. She even allegedly foresaw her own death on 11th August 1996 at the age of 85. Even though the mystic is no more, she made predictions for every year up until 5079. For this 2025, her prophecy states, "When Syria falls, a great war between the West and the East will follow. In the spring, a conflict will ignite in the East, leading to a third world war, a war that will destroy the West." As events in Syria spiral, fears of this vision coming true are mounting. Recent developments in Aleppo, where insurgents have captured key installations, have drawn renewed attention to a dire prophecy made by Baba Vanga. Rebels from the Islamist Hayat Tahrir al-Sham group have declared the end of the era as they push deeper into Damascus, capturing Sednaya prison, a notorious symbol of Assad's regime. Aleppo has already fallen, and while the Syrian Defense Ministry denies claims of Hom's capture, the rebels' momentum remains unchecked. Key ally Hezbollah has withdrawn its forces, and thousands of Syrian soldiers have reportedly fled to Iraq. Panic grips Damascus, with residents scrambling for supplies and money, fearing what comes next. In a symbolic act, protesters in the city's suburbs have toppled statues of Assad's father, Hafez al-Assad. Before her death in 1996, Baba Vanga predicted that Syria's fall would act as a precursor to a global conflict. She warned, as soon as Syria falls, expect a great war between the West and the East. In the spring, a war in the East will begin, and there will be a third world war, a war in the East that will destroy the West. This cryptic message has left many speculating about the future of the Middle East and the broader consequences for global stability. The rapid escalation in Syria is now seen as a potential trigger for the catastrophic conflict she foresaw. As Assad's regime collapses, Syria's unrest could spill over into neighboring regions, risking wider conflict. Baba Vanga's prophecy, once dismissed as folklore, feels alarmingly relevant as the global community braces for what might follow. The fall of Aleppo to insurgents has wider implications, not just for Syria, but also for global peace. With its international airport now under militant control, Syria's situation could potentially exacerbate tensions among major powers, particularly as Russian-made weapons feature prominently in the insurgents' cache. This development has drawn international scrutiny, with concerns that the conflict may escalate beyond the region. Adding weight to the prophecy, Baba Vanga ominously stated, "Syria will fall at the feet of the winner, but the winner will not be the one." This cryptic remark has left many wondering about the true implications of her foresight. As the situation in Syria unfolds, the eerie relevance of Baba Vanga's predictions serves as a reminder of the delicate state of international relations. While skeptics may dismiss her words as coincidence, the alignment of her prophecy with recent events underscores the uncertainty. That's why Baba Vanga also supposedly predicted the outbreak of a conflict that would affect much of Europe in 2025. Like Nostradamus, her visions seem to point to a war that could escalate to involve global powers. It is said that she warned about the destruction of the world as we know it, a phrase some interpret as referring to a conflict that could shift the balance of power and cause great loss. According to this interpretation, the conflict could drastically reduce the population in Europe and create a worldwide humanitarian crisis. Current tensions in Europe and Asia have led many to view this prediction as a serious warning, though the true scope of her words remains a topic of debate. The President's health warning. Baba Vanga had predicted that Donald Trump would be struck by a mysterious illness, leaving him deaf and afflicted by a brain tumor. Although Trump hasn't experienced these specific ailments, the recent assassination attempt casts an eerie parallel to her prophecy. Pennsylvania in July, Trump collapsed onto the stage as Secret Service agents swiftly surrounded him. He was helped to his feet and escorted off stage, but not before raising his fist and shouting, "Fight! Fight! Fight!" This defiant gesture quickly became one of the most iconic moments in U.S. political history. His return to power will not only grant him sweeping influence domestically, but also impact his image globally. 4 years after departing Washington under a cloud of controversy for attempting to overturn the 2020 election, Trump has overcome a remarkable series of obstacles, including 2 impeachment trials, a criminal conviction, numerous legal charges, and even 2 assassination attempts. It can be said that Trump has overcome a life-threatening challenge to once again enter the White House to pursue new goals. Trump even admitted that it was God who saved him, because he has given him a new mission for America. Currently, Trump has resolved quite a few tough issues, but this is still not the end. Being re-elected as president means there will be many difficult and even dangerous challenges that Trump will have to face in the future. We cannot ignore Vanga's predictions. God prays for Trump. Global economic crisis is cover the world. Baba Vanga allegedly foresaw an economic crisis that would impact many parts of the world in 2025. According to some accounts, she predicted a financial collapse that would disrupt the global economy and plunge millions into poverty. This crisis is expected to manifest as hyperinflation in Latin American countries, particularly Argentina, and cause employment and stability issues in developed economies worldwide. Baba Vanga also warned of increasing inequality and the impact of poverty on different societies, which could spark social unrest and protests demanding change. Europe's population will reach 0. Baba Vanga predicted that by 2025, Europe's population will become nearly 0. This could be due to terrorism, social upheaval, and climate changes. With the current global distress caused by the microvirus, it's not impossible for Europe's population to vanish. However, how much of this is true remains to be seen. Humans face natural disasters. Her words have been passed down orally, and she is now credited with several predictions for 2025 that point to profound global changes. Baba Vanga is also known for her visions of natural disasters that would affect the planet's climate and living conditions. She reportedly predicted that extreme weather events, including intense heat waves in Europe and desertification in parts of South America and Asia, would mark 2025. These interpretations align with modern concerns about climate change, which forecasts drought conditions and extreme heat in certain regions. Baba Vanga is also said to have predicted a wave of water that would cover vast areas in Asia, possibly referring to a tsunami or major flood. The possibility of such an event occurring in places like Bangladesh or Southeast Asia remains a critical concern today due to the risk of flooding in vulnerable areas. As we face these predictions, it is essential to approach them with a balance of curiosity and caution, acknowledging both their historical context and their potential relevance to today's global challenges. It is also said that Nostradamus mentions lands turning into deserts and submerged cities, which many associate with the effects of climate change in regions like Brazil, where severe droughts could occur, and coastal areas in Asia and southern Europe, which could be at risk of flooding. These interpretations reflect current concerns about global warming and how it might reshape the world in the coming decades. The Chosen One. One of Baba Vanga's most intriguing predictions for 2025 is the birth of a child who will play a crucial role in achieving world peace. According to her prophecy, this child will bring a new order and become a spiritual leader who will unite humanity. It is said that the child will be born on January 5th, 2025, and will grow up with exceptional abilities that will enable them to guide the world in times of crisis. Seen as a symbol of hope amid darker prophecies, this child is regarded by some of Baba Vanga's followers as a sign of renewal and unity. Although this prediction is one of the least verifiable, it has captured the imagination of many and remains a topic of speculation. Baba Vanga also mentioned the name of the powerful man, Putin. This is one of her most famous predictions. According to her, Putin will become the lord of the world, while Europe will become a wasteland. All will thaw as if ice, only one remains untouched: Vladimir's glory, the glory of Russia. Nobody can stop Russia. After the Russia and Ukraine conflict, these alleged prophecies attributed to Bulgarian blind seer Baba Vanga went viral on social media and were mentioned by mainline international media as well. Reportedly, they came from Russian poet and academic Valentin Mitrofanovich Sidorov, who interviewed Baba Vanga and devoted a book to her, whose most popular edition, heavily edited after his death, was published in 2009. Many people are quite skeptical of this prophecy, and up until now, nothing is certain about the final outcome of the conflict between the two nations. Who will be the last warrior standing? Speaking of Putin, this blind prophet once again mentioned this leader and the connection to her prophecy. The mystic predicted that new cures for diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer will be invented very soon. It sounds unbelievable, but nothing is impossible with the rapid development of world medicine. President Vladimir Putin recently said that Russian scientists are close to creating a vaccine for cancer that could soon be available to patients. He said, "We have reached a significant milestone in the development of cancer vaccines and next-generation immunomodulatory drugs. I hope that soon they will be effectively used as methods of individual therapy," he added, speaking at a Moscow forum on future technologies. However, he did not specify the types of cancer the proposed vaccines would target. Furthermore, recent developments have confirmed progress in the development of a lung cancer vaccine. The United Kingdom has allocated funding for 2 years of laboratory research and initial manufacturing of 3,000 doses for a DNA-based lung cancer vaccine, as stated in a press release from the University of Oxford, located in Oxford, England. But it cannot be denied that the world will have a positive outlook for cancer patients, and we can fully expect that a miracle will happen in 2025. Touch to the sky. According to Baba Vanga, humans will reach Venus in search of new energy sources, and the problem of food shortages will be resolved very soon. There will also be a human space mission to Mercury. With more than half of the Earth suffering due to climate change and terrorism, humans have already begun searching for habitats on other planets. It's possible that Baba Vanga's prophecy could come true. Personally, seeing the state of Earth makes me want to move to another planet. Anyway, let's move on to the next prediction. Baba Vanga's prediction about a star exploding could be seen as similar to the supernova SN 1006, which occurred in the year 1006 and was visible for several years. The explosion of a star would likely be a significant event and could potentially have some impact on our planet, such as affecting our climate or causing disruptions in our technology. A star exploding could potentially have significant effects on our planet. For example, it could release large amounts of radiation, which could affect our climate and even our health. Additionally, it could disrupt our technology, including satellites and power grids. The bright light from the exploding star could also potentially affect our sleep patterns and have other effects on our daily lives. There are several stars in the universe that are currently known to be at the end of their lives and could potentially explode in the near future. While predicting the exact timing of such events is difficult, astronomers have identified several stars that are at high risk of exploding, which could provide some support for Baba Vanga's prediction. With that, she also warned us the visit of strangers. While the idea of an alien attack might seem like something out of science fiction, it is not without precedent. In the past, various cultures have reported encounters with extraterrestrial beings, and some have even claimed to have been abducted by aliens. However, it is important to note that there is currently no scientific evidence to support the existence of aliens or the possibility of an alien attack. While the likelihood of an alien attack is unknown, the idea of contact with extraterrestrial life raises a number of questions about our place in the universe and the possibility of other intelligent life. It could also have significant effects on our society and culture, potentially leading to new scientific discoveries and even religious or philosophical changes. While there is currently no scientific evidence to support the existence of extraterrestrial life, the search for such life is an active area of research. Scientists have discovered thousands of exoplanets or planets that orbit stars other than our Sun, and some of these planets are located in the habitable zone, which could potentially support life. Additionally, several organizations, such as the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, are actively searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Cyborg humans. Advancements in prosthetics and other artificial body parts have already made it possible for some people to replace lost or damaged body parts with artificial ones. However, the idea of humans becoming entirely cyborg raises a number of ethical and philosophical questions, such as what it means to be human, and whether it is right to modify the human body in such a way. Additionally, it is unclear what impact this could have on society as a whole, and whether it could lead to a greater divide between those who can afford such enhancements and those who cannot. Many of her predictions are open to interpretation, and it is unclear what impact they could have on our lives. However, they do raise some interesting questions about the future of humanity and the role of technology in shaping our world. Humans becoming cyborgs could potentially lead to significant changes in our society and culture. It could create new social and economic divides between those who can afford such enhancements and those who cannot. It could also raise significant ethical questions about what it means to be human, as well as the potential impact on our health and well-being. Additionally, it could lead to significant changes in our job market and economy, potentially replacing some jobs with machines or technology. Dangerous bird virus. Birds have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, such as avian flu, which can be transmitted to humans. It is possible that a new virus could emerge that would have a significant impact on bird populations. The potential consequences of such an event would depend on the severity of the virus and the ability of humans to contain its spread. A dangerous virus affecting bird populations could potentially have significant ecological and economic consequences. It could disrupt food supplies, as well as impact other animal populations that rely on birds for food or pollination. Additionally, it could potentially lead to the spread of the virus to humans, which could have significant health consequences. Bird populations have been affected by numerous viruses in the past, and the potential for future outbreaks is always a concern. However, the identification and monitoring of potential bird viruses is an active area of research, and scientists are working to develop new vaccines and other preventative measures to protect both birds and humans. Geopolitical changes. Baba Vanga's predictions for 2025 also encompass significant geopolitical changes. She foresaw shifts in global power dynamics that could reshape international relations and influence the balance of power. Emerging powers could rise to prominence once dominant nations see their influence wane. These changes will impact global trade, economic policies, and diplomatic relations. Countries must navigate these shifts carefully to maintain stability and foster cooperation. Baba Vanga's prophecies suggest that some nations may form new alliances, while others could experience internal strife and political upheaval. The predicted geopolitical changes may also affect global security. shifting power dynamics could increase the risk of conflicts and tensions. Nations must prioritize diplomacy and conflict resolution to avoid escalation and promote peace. In addition to power shifts, Baba Vanga predicted changes in global leadership. New leaders may emerge with different visions and policies, influencing the direction of their countries and the world. These leaders could be crucial in addressing global challenges, such as climate change, economic inequality, and social justice. Baba Vanga's predictions for geopolitical changes in 2024 highlight the need for adaptability and resilience. As the world evolves, nations must work together to navigate these changes and create a more stable and prosperous future. Cure for cancer. The mystic predicted that new cures for diseases like Alzheimer's and cancer will be invented this year. It sounds unbelievable, but, nothing is impossible with the rapid development of world medicine. President Vladimir Putin recently said that Russian scientists are close to creating a vaccine for cancer that could soon be available to patients. He said, "We have reached a significant milestone in the development of cancer vaccines and next-generation immunomodulatory drugs. I hope that soon they will be effectively used as methods of individual therapy," he added, speaking at a Moscow forum on future technologies. However, he did not specify the types of cancer the proposed vaccines would target. Furthermore, recent developments have confirmed progress in the development of a lung cancer vaccine. The United Kingdom has allocated funding for 2 years of laboratory research and initial manufacturing of 3,000 doses for a DNA-based lung cancer vaccine, as stated in a press release from the University of Oxford, located in Oxford, England. But it cannot be denied that the world will have a positive outlook for cancer patients, and we can fully expect that miracle will happen in 2024. Human birth at laboratories. Baba Vanga is believed to have predicted that for 2025, human babies will be born in laboratories, where the color of their skin to their character can be decided. This means that the entire process of birth will be controlled. The rise of technology, according to Vanga, advancements in reproductive technology, have already made it possible for some couples to conceive through in vitro fertilization, IVF, and other assisted reproductive technologies. However, the idea of human reproduction becoming entirely artificial raises a number of ethical questions, such as whether it is right to create human life in a laboratory setting. Additionally, it is unclear what impact this could have on the population as a whole, and what unintended consequences could arise from such technology. Human reproduction becoming entirely artificial could have significant consequences for our population and society. It could potentially lead to a decrease in genetic diversity and a greater reliance on technology to create new life. It could also raise significant ethical questions about the creation and ownership of life, as well as the role of government and society in regulating and controlling such technology. The development of artificial reproductive technologies is an active area of research, and significant advancements have already been made in this field. For example, scientists have successfully grown mouse embryos in an artificial womb, and human embryos have been successfully grown in vitro. While there are still many technical and ethical challenges to be addressed, these advancements suggest that the development of entirely artificial human reproduction is not outside the realm of possibility. The development of artificial body parts and prosthetics is an active area of research, and significant advancements have already been made in this field. For example, scientists have developed brain-controlled prosthetic arms, and some artificial organs, such as hearts, are already in use. While the development of entirely artificial bodies and organs is still a long way off, these advancements suggest that the potential for such technology is not out of the question. The end of the world. Apparently, the latest predictions have raised concern among her followers and the public, as they predict that the apocalypse will begin in 2025. The apocalypse is anticipated to begin in 2025, despite the fact that humanity will not be completely eradicated until 5079. as stated in the timeline of her predictions. Besides, Baba Vanga went on to state that a conflict in Europe would devastate the continent's population by 2025. The prophecy is worrying the people, particularly in light of the ongoing conflicts and tensions in geopolitics. Following Vanga, this is the timeline to the end of humanity. In 2025, the inciting incident that kicks off the ultimate end of humanity will be an unspecified conflict in Europe, which will devastate the continent's population. Then, when we come to 2028, humanity needs more energy. To do this, they will manage to explore Venus to find new energy sources. This may be one of the most unbelievable parts of this timeline, since Venus is essentially an inhospitable hellscape with an atmosphere so acidic that nothing could survive. And no space probe has ever managed to survive more than a couple of hours. In 2033, climate change is very dangerous, and that shouldn't be understated. However, Baba Vanga supposedly predicted that at this point, the polar ice caps would melt and sea levels would rise drastically worldwide. Ever see the old episode of The Simpsons where Russia flips a switch and the Soviet Union suddenly out of nowhere reforms? The Berlin Wall shoots back up out of the ground, and a zombie Vladimir Lenin smashes out of his crypt, groaning about crushing capitalism? Well, it may not be like this exactly, but Baba Vanga's alleged prediction claims that at this point in 2076, communism will not just be back, but will take over the entire world. In 2130, skipping ahead to the next century, humanity will, at this point, supposedly make contact with aliens. What could go wrong? Climate change in 2170 is going to get worse, and at this point, a drought is supposedly going to spread across the world. In 3005, perhaps it's due to human colonization, or perhaps it's aliens. Regardless, at this point, there will supposedly already have been some kind of civilization on Mars, and they will fight a war with Earth. In 3797 at this point, due to any number of reasons, the Earth will supposedly no longer be able to support life. Humans will allegedly leave their homeworld at this point and move on to parts unknown. This is it. The end gonna happen in 5079, the grand finale. And of course, with as vague of a prediction as this is, if this was even a real prediction at all, we know nothing about it. All we know is that the world will end. Yes, the world will supposedly already be uninhabitable by this point, so what this refers to is honestly anyone's guess. Does it go out with a bang or with a whimper? Is there a great epic battle or a rather anticlimactic incident? Keep in mind that this is all patently ridiculous. Yes, Baba Vanga was a real person, and yes, she has amassed quite a following and legend around her. However, since no one wrote down her predictions, no one knows if any prediction attributed to her these days is genuine. And even if it was, no one knows if the prediction would be true. But we need to take a note at this. Although there are many prophets who make predictions about the end of the world, in reality, God has said that no one knows the day or hour of his coming, but God. This prediction of the blind prophet reminds us a verse of Bible. When you hear of wars and rumors of wars, do not be alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be earthquakes in various places, and famines. These are the beginning of birth pains. Doubtless, somewhere people will again start to use such disasters as signs that we are living in the last days. Or, to put it more accurately, since the New Testament consistently insists the last days began with Christ's first coming, they will insist that we are living in the last days of the last days. Wars and rumors of wars should not alarm God's people. The end is still to come. Earthquakes and famines are merely the beginning of birth pangs. In other words, just as labor pains remind a pregnant mother that there is a baby inside her that the body wants to bring into the world, so do these various earthly disasters remind believers that Christ will return, ending human history as we now know it. But my, how unreliable those labor pains can be, sometimes coming months ahead of the actual due date. sometimes weeks in advance. They remind us that we are getting closer to the climactic day, but we knew that already just because of the passing of time. Vanga also said that in 2025, Earth could encounter a different path around the sun. This is a highly interesting prediction and one that could have far-reaching effects on our lives. Mark 13:32-33 says, "But about that day or hour no one knows, not even the angels in heaven, nor the Son, but only the Father. Be on guard, be alert. You do not know when that time will come." When the Lord tells us, "No one knows the day or the hour," he is referring to the truth that nobody knows when his second coming will be. Many individuals throughout time have tried to predict the second coming of Christ, yet there is no way a person can predict the Lord's second coming. The second coming of Christ is often confused with the rapture of the church. Many scholars blend these two events of eschatology to be the same event. However, the second coming of Christ and the rapture are two distinct events. The rapture will occur before the second coming of Christ, because the second coming will not occur until the end of the 7-year tribulation. None of us can predict the time when all of these future events will take place. The rapture is the catalyst for the rest of the events of eschatology, as believers will be taken up to be with the Lord prior to the 7-year tribulation. After the 7-year tribulation will be the second coming of Christ. During this time, Christ will return to fight in the Battle of Armageddon. You can read Revelation chapter 19 verses 11 to 16 for more. In the Battle of Armageddon, the Lord will defeat the Antichrist and the false prophet. Jesus will rule victorious over evil and destroy all those who went against him. The second coming will be drastically different from his first coming. The Lord has already given us the opportunity to place faith in him through the knowledge of the gospel. Yet at his second coming, he will bring the full promises of our salvation to fruition. After the end of the 7-year tribulation, Jesus will reign as king for 1,000 years, and then he will establish the new heaven and new earth. When God establishes the new heaven and new earth, the world will be exactly as God first intended it to be in the Garden of Eden. No longer will there be any death, pain, or sadness. Instead, there will only be happiness, joy, and life. The second coming of Christ is something we should all look forward to, as it will be a major event in eschatology. If you are presently already a believer, you can be confident in the knowledge that you will return with Christ at his second coming and help fight in the Battle of Armageddon. All believers who have died or been taken up in the rapture prior to the 7-year tribulation will return to Christ to fight in the Battle of Armageddon. While this may be frightening, we can trust in the Lord and in his future plans. Every year, Earth passes the sun around 584 million miles. This journey is an epic elliptical one, as it is shaped like an oval instead of a circle. The exact shape of the oval is determined by the forces of other planets. Although Earth's orbit can change due to these forces, these changes only happen in a cyclical manner. Even subtle changes can have severe implications on the Earth. It could cause extreme radiation levels and soaring temperatures to affect our planet. It's also possible that the orbital shift suggested by Baba Vanga could be caused by an impact from an asteroid. Is this a sign to the end? Let's wait and see.